So yeah, I'll read out the free hit draft I've put together. So it's Pope in goal. Obviously, Burnley have got a double. They just gets clean sheet. Potential there for Pope to get a decent score over the two. Just a generic 3.9 cheapest goalkeeper available. Not even heard of that guy, but just a placeholder really. Any cheap goalkeeper. And then the three defend. I think this formation would be 3-4-3 the way I'd play it. So I've gone Ben Mee for the same reasons as Pope, Cancelo, and Aït-Nouri. So Cancelo obviously had him all season long, most of us, and Aït-Nouri I've gone for the price 4.4. The Wolves defense is decent, and I think he's got higher potential in a 1 game week period for an attacking return than the defenders. Could get an assist. I think he
got one at the weekend, did he?
Aït-Nouri, all right. I saw you.
Did he not assist for the second goal for Podence? He might have passed it to someone he might have assisted the assister actually.
Right. He had a shot in the box as well. Went just wide. I think it hit that. What's that post called that's behind the actual post? The thing that keeps the net stanchion. That's it. That word was escaping me.
No, he didn't get it. He must have passed it. He passed it to Dendoncker. That was it. Dendoncker got this.
And then to fill up the 2 bench spots, I've just gone cheapest chips, Simicas 3.7, and then Ben Johnson because Soufal's not been playing recently, and then Fredericks started at the weekend, but obviously wasn't to Moyes' liking, and Johnson came on for the second half. So I think now Ben Johnson's got a chance at getting a run at right back again, like he had at the start of the season. What I would say there is, if someone like you who's got more team value than me, would probably be able to get a better first bench option for the defenders. But with my team value, that was the best I could do. And then for the midfielders, which is where the party is this week. So for the 4 in the 3-4-3, it's Bruno, Mahrez, Sterling, and Son. We were just talking through the big quality chances and all that stuff before on the previous slide. Mahrez and Sterling. Sterling's getting the most chances to actually score, like highest quality chances, XG chances to bag, which makes him the most likely one, I think, in a given game week to get a hat trick or something. And then Mahrez on pens and decent assist threat. Like his creation numbers are decent. And
in terms of Pep Roulette as well, I think Mahrez will definitely play because he didn't play Spurs game. He came on, but City looked a lot better. Sterling's probably the risky one there, but he's a lot less risky than Foden, I reckon, and a few others.
Yeah, so I think given the whole roulette thing, I'm not considering captain a City player, but given they're playing Everton, I think the last 2 times they played Everton, they've put 3 or 4 past them as well. I was listening to the FPL Wire boys discussing the City versus Everton fixture just before we came on. And yeah, they're not really impressing that much under Lampard, are they, Everton? So I think it's worth taking the risk of the rotation and taking it on with the best City players you can afford.
Who did they say were the 3 best options out of interest? Was it these 3?
I think they went Mahrez top, Sterling second, and then Cancelo third. How would you order it? I think I'd actually go Sterling top.
These are the top 3, right?
Yeah, but if you were literally ordering it 1, 2, 3, what would you do?
Probably Sterling top, Mahrez, then Cancelo. Because Cancelo had a very poor game against Spurs. He probably will still play against Everton, but that's just something to keep in the back of your mind. He might play Stones again. Put Laporte left back. You don't know.
And then the strikers, just to round off my draft, Kane, Broja, and Weghorst. So people who got Veghorst last week, obviously pleased with his returns at the weekend, and with the double, with it being Crystal Palace and Leicester both susceptible to set pieces and conceding from corners, etc. I think Veghorst looks a great option. Probably going to be the standout captain choice, but yeah, we'll talk about that later. And then Broja, Southampton playing Norwich. He's been doing really well for his price, basically. Having him there at 5.4 enables the rest of it. And Kane, we talked about Spurs and Leeds conceded so many goals. So yeah, that's my team. I went for Dewsbury Hall as my fifth midfielder, just because, say, if one of them doesn't play, I think Dewsbury Hall is an all right option to come in off the bench. Let's get onto your draft. It's pretty much the same, isn't it?
Yeah. Good to see. We've both shown a bit of originality. Obviously, these teams, a lot of people free hitting. The free hit is a differential in itself, isn't it? So even though a lot of teams are similar, not everyone is playing the free hit. So that's what makes it differential. But yeah, in terms of difference, I'm probably pretty set on 10 of these. It's just the last defender. So Pope, Cancelo, me, Fernandes, Son, Mahrez, Sterling, Veghorst, captain, Kane, Broja, like yourself. And then potentially, I think I can stretch Livramento to Shaw at home to Watford, which I probably will do. But then it comes off the back of United's Champions League game. And obviously, Dalot got his rest at the weekend. So there's nothing to say that Shaw might get his rest against Watford, might he? And Telles might come in. So that's the only interest. That's the only doubt in my mind. But yeah, that'll probably be the final decision. But in terms of free hit, I actually think it's a straightforward decision this week. I know we're trying to sell our podcast, but I don't think not too many teams are going to stray from this. So we're going to run through three differentials after this. But yeah, in terms of probably what I'll go for, that'll be
just with this draft before we move on. Are you happy with that bench? Because there's a chance Livramento doesn't play. Southampton, some weeks they've been playing Perot, and some weeks Kyle Walker-Peters has been moving over to the flank. So I'm not sure it's a lock that Livramento plays. Would you not maybe consider having a better first bench option, given you've got the money?
Potentially, although he did play the last game, didn't he? And they played very well. He got an assist. And he's only not been playing because he's been coming back from injury, hasn't he? Before his injury, he played pretty much every game. But I get what you mean around the uncertainty.
Because the thing is that while he's been out, Kyle Walker-Peters and Perot have been playing really well. Southampton in general have been playing really well.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that was because Livramento wasn't playing, but the fact that the other two have just done decent just puts the slight doubt there.
I think anyway, I might move to Shaw anyway, and just hope that he plays that Watford game.
Can you afford Maguire?
Maguire's a bit more. Is Maguire 5.5? Right. Is Maguire? Is he 5.5? Yeah.
I can't see without that.
I'll have a look.
I just.
I don't think I could stretch that much.
Just if we operate on the popular bus theory, two coming at once, he's finally scored a header. Man United finally scored from a corner after having about 150 of them this season. Maybe he'll get another one. But yeah, unlikely. But yeah, if you've got the money there, Maguire is maybe a slightly better option, just for that slight set piece threat.
The security starts, I reckon.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Tellers has been out with COVID and stuff, so maybe he could come back in for sure.
I was just trying to work out whether that.
One other thing while you're looking at that, obviously,
I'll be 0.5 short, I reckon, Maguire.
Right. Not everyone will be able to put this draft together. People who are free hitting, because not everyone has the same team value, especially as you. There'll be a lot of people who want the same team value as me. Even of the big hitters here, which one, if you had to sacrifice to go to the cheaper option, which one would you make the sacrifice? For example, would you do like Mahrez to Foden, or would you do Fernandes to Sancho, or like where would you look to maybe make some money back if you couldn't quite afford this draft?
Probably in terms of sacrifice, probably Sterling, I reckon.
You just Sterling to Foden?
Yeah. I mean, if both Sterling and Mahrez both play, then I'd probably say Mahrez. But I just think there's less uncertainty around Mahrez playing. I could be very wrong, but who am I to second guess Pep?
Sound. Yeah, I think we'll go into the differentials. The differentials now. So for those who are living a bit more aggressively, looking to come out of missionary and get themselves into reverse cowgirl. I think if Reguilon's fit for the different defender for the wildcard for the free hit draft, sorry, I'd go for Reguilon. For the similar reason to Son, I just think Leeds will struggle to track the runs that he makes. He's been unlucky not to score recently, and yeah, I just think there'll be so many goals in that game, the way Leeds play, and he's got the most upside of any Spurs defender. And then for the midfield differential option, I've gone for Sancho. He's having his best spell of the season. He looks to be someone who Rangnick trusts now. He's playing 90 minutes more often than not, starting over the likes of Rashford consistently. 2 assists at the weekend. I actually think, with what you were saying before about where you'd look to save money if you couldn't afford this draft we've got on screen, I'd consider Sancho over Fernandes rather than Foden over Sterling. I just think that there's way more goals in the City Everton game than there will be in the United Watford game. So I'd rather have the best possible options in the City game and make the sacrifice in United's game, if that makes sense. And then for the differential striker, I've gone for Che Adams. He's going under the radar because he's more expensive than Brower, but I think for points wise, he's actually been outperforming Brower. So Che Adams, if you've got the money there to splash up front. What about you?
Interesting. I think defender probably be United one, whether it's Maguire, Shaw, even Dallo, because he got his rest at the weekend. Obviously, Wan-Bissaka played okay, but not too great. So I think he'll probably will play that Watford game, unless Wan-Bissaka is now in Premier League games and Dallo might get the Champions League. Maguire's obviously more secure, but I think I'll probably get in the United back line. That'll be my differential. Midfield, obviously we've got 2 Spurs boys there. Other one who put City to the sword, Kulievski. Nice price as well. I think he's only 6 mil, 6.5. So yeah, great differential and great price for those who want to use the budget elsewhere. Another one in midfield probably would be Cornet if you don't want to go to the defender.
Is he fit, Cornet? He came, did he come off injured? He seems to always come out with a bit of an injury doubt. Double check on that with Cornet.
Did it? Yeah. Oh yeah. Dash mentioned something in his press conference, didn't he, about still not fully fit from AFCON. He's not got a flag, but yeah, worth keeping an eye on. Play 54 minutes. And then striker, I think, is a tricky one. I think those 3 just scream to you, don't they, this week? I think it's quite straightforward. Obviously, City not got a striker. Ronaldo's not much of a differential, or is he? And I don't think he's looking that great either. I'm glad I got rid of him. It's a tricky one, the striker position, I think, this week. I'm trying to think who.
I guess Jimenez maybe it's an option, but at the price, it's tricky to go that far.
West Ham away, yeah, or Palace, Edward.
Yeah, I think what you said before about playing the free hit itself being a differential is important to remember, and
I think the striker one's tricky to go just straight away from them 3. I reckon a tricky one, just because those 3 just scream. I know Adams is probably a nice one if you don't fancy Broja. But then, yeah, why would you risk going against the main man?
So yeah, and you're locked on Vegas as your captain then for this week on this free hit.
I think so. I think you've got to play a double, haven't you?
Yeah. I think the same for me. If I was to waver, it would be Son or Kane. I think there's the potential for Son or Kane to get more in that Leeds game than Burnley doing the double.